introduce the clergy this morning.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Second Baptist Church in Joliet was established in 1880 and is the oldest African-American congregation in Joliet and in Durham County. Like a good many African-American churches during that time, it was a hub of education, of civil justice, of civil rights, and of learning for the community and a social networking place. Today, 136 years later, it continues that mission and has added to that an after-school mentoring and homework program, food pantry, and meal service to those who are in need. This venerable congregation is pastored today by the Reverend Larry Tyler, who is with us today during this season of sacrifice, remembrance, and reflection to offer some words of prayer. Pastor Tyler.
Thank you. Let us pray. Gracious God, our Father, we take not for granted this privilege. We're very thankful for this moment to invite you into this proceeding. We thank you, Lord, for all of the districts that comprise Will County. We thank you for the leaders. We thank you for this moment to focus. We ask you for clarity of thought. We ask you for wisdom. We ask, oh God, that you would enable this assembly to accomplish a mission, to set policy, appropriate resources for the delivery of countywide services. We ask that the vision could be accomplished, that everyone could have the highest quality of life, fully engaged with county government. And we ask for the upholding of the values set forth: accessibility, fiscal responsibility, forward thinking, collaboration, and leadership. We ask this all in the name of Jesus Christ for the future yet set before us. In his name we pray. Let everybody say, Amen.
Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Sure. Mayor? Brooks?
Here.
Howard?
Here.
Ogalla?
Here.
Singer?
Here.
Moran?
Here.
Rice?
Here.
Harris?
Here.
Trainier? Benefield?
Here.
Fritz?
Here.
Freitag?
Here.
Gould?
Here.
Balich? Frizzlum?
Here.
Winfrey?
Here.
Parker?
Here.
Staley Ferry?
Here.
Babbage?
Yes.
Wilhelmie?
Here.
Hart?
Here.
Tumino?
Here.
Weigel?
Here.
Collins?
Here.
Ferry?
Here.
And Eustace.
Here.
Thank you.
23 present, 3 absent.
23 present, 3 absent. Quorum is present. Entertain a motion to place on file the certificate of publication. Moved by Mr. Babbage, second by Mr. Wilhelmie. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Sure. Brooks?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Ogalla?
Yes.
Singer?
Yes.
Moran?
Yes.
Rice? Harris?
Yes.
Benefield?
Yes.
Fritz?
Yes.
Freitag?
Yes.
Gould?
Yes.
Frizzlum?
Yes.
Winfrey?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Staley Ferry?
Yes.
Babbage?
Yes.
Wilhelmie?
Yes.
Hart?
Yes.
Tumino?
Yes.
Weigel?
Yes.
Collins?
Yes.
Ferry?
Yes.
And Eustace.
Yes.
Thank you.
23 affirmative.
23 for the motion, that's carried. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes of our Will County Board recess meeting of January 21, 2016. Moved by Mr. Wilhelmie, second by Mr. Ferry. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll call by Ms. Rice, second by Ms. Winfrey. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion is carried. Motion to approve the County Board Executive Session minutes of January 21, 2016. Moved by Mr. Muse, second by Mr. Brooks. Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Winfrey, second by Mr. Howard. All in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary, motion has carried. Madam Clerk, please acknowledge our elected officials and the media that is present this morning.
Sure. Auditor Duffy Blackburn, County Clerk Michelle Booth, our County Executive Larry Walsh, State Attorney James Glasgow, we have from the press, Farmers Weekly Review with Nick Breyer, Southtown Susan Lafferty, Herald News Lauren Leon Cross, W. Gerald, Monica DeSantis, and from Times Weekly we have Brock Stein. Welcome. Good morning.
Thank you. First up is honorary resolution proclamation. County Board Member Ken Harris will read into the record, recognizing February as Black History Month. Mr. Harris.
As I prepare to bring you this resolution, recognize February as Black History Month. This month, February, is always special to me. It's always a time of reflection on the contribution that African Americans made to our society. In addition, this month also has Valentine's Day, which signifies love. It also has President's Day to honor presidents, and also Lincoln's birthday. And always a time for reflection for me because this is the month of my birthday. But as we always say, we should not have to wait to February to recognize and honor someone. So as I read this resolution, it reads, whereas one of the best ways we can shape the future is to preserve what we value of our past, and whereas African Americans have a rich heritage and Black History Month gives us an opportunity to learn about this important part of our nation's story, and whereas Black History Month serves as a celebration and an acknowledgement of invaluable contributions by African Americans to the spiritual character, economic prosperity, and cultural development of our nation. And whereas the theme for 2016 is Hallowed Ground, Site of African American Memories, tells the story of the place where African Americans have made history, from the Kingsley Plantation, the Sabo Home Site, the numerous stops along the Underground Railroad, Seneca Village, Mother Bethel A&E Church, and Frederick Douglass homes are sites that keep alive the 18th and 19th century in our consciousness and retain the memories of our forebears, struggles for freedom and justice, their belief in God's grace and mercy. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Will County Board and the Will County Executive recognize February as Black History Month and acknowledge the outstanding achievement of African Americans throughout American history. Be it further resolved that the Will County Board and the Will County Executive encourage citizens of Will County to celebrate our diverse heritage and the continued effort to build a better tomorrow for our children and grandchildren. And I so move.
Moved by Mr. Harris, second by Ms. Stacey Perry. Any questions? Previous roll. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried. Next up, County Board Member Reagan Freitag will present a proclamation recognizing the Wilmington High School cheerleaders as their first place finish in the cheerleading contest.
Thank you, Mr. Executive. At this time, I would ask the Wilmington High School state champion cheerleaders to please come down and your coaches. First, I want to say congratulations. I'm so proud of all of you. I know one of our fellow county board members, Rachel Manello, was down at the championship and watched you guys, and and inside you guys are pretty amazing. So I'm really proud of you. I'm proud to have you here. You're a great reflection of our community in my hometown. Thank you. Whereas it is the intent of the Will County Board and the Will County Executive to recognize outstanding achievements of individuals and organizations in Will County. And whereas the Will County Wildcat High School cheerleading team placed first in the small division state championship at the IHSA state cheerleading competition on February 5th through the 7th, 2016. And whereas this is the first championship for the Wilmington Wildcats in cheerleading, and whereas the Wildcats posted an 86.8 score to finish well ahead of runner-up Carlisle. And whereas the success can be attributed to the commitment and dedication of head coach Janine, the outstanding coaching staff, and the Wilmington Wildcats High School cheerleading team. Now therefore, be it resolved that the Will County Board and the Will County Executive hereby honor the Wilmington Wildcats High School cheerleading team for first place in small division state championship at the IHSA state cheerleading competition. Be it further resolved that Coach Janine, the coaching staff, and the members of the Wilmington Wildcats cheerleading team be commended for this distinguished honor. Dated the 18th day of February 2016, attested by Nancy Schultz Boots, Will County Clerk, and Lawrence M. Walsh, Will County Executive. I so move.
Moved by Ms. Freitag, seconded by Mr. Gould. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion is carried.
Thank you so much for this honor to the Will County Board for inviting us here. This is a tremendous honor to be recognized for the whole community. This team did an exceptional job this year. We worked really hard all year, and this was our ultimate goal and really absolutely a dream come true. The last couple weeks have just been a whirlwind, all the recognition and everything that we've received. We never even imagined that we would get all of these honors. We just wanted to have our accomplishments of feeling good and knowing that we did our best, and we know that we did, and we're extremely proud of ourselves. I'm extremely proud of my team, and as I said, this is an absolute honor to be here. This award is not only for our team but the entire community of Wilmington and all of the cheerleaders and students and staff and everybody who supported us along the way. Thank you so much.
Girls, you want to come up front and do some sort of like cheerleading stance? You want to get up here? Come on, do something.
Follow people in the back.
Okay, put short person in the front. Thank you so much.
All resolutions from the January 21, 2016 County Board agenda have been signed by the County Executive. First order of business is Land Use and Development Committee. Mr. Weigel, Chairman.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Tom.
Our first item is to open the public hearing for the land use cases. I so move.
Moved by Mr. Weigel, second by Ms. Collins. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Brooks.
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Ogalla.
Yes.
Singer.
Yes.
Moran.
Yes.
Rice. Harris.
Yes.
Benefield.
Yes.
Fritz.
Yes.
Freitag. Gould.
Yes.
Griswold.
Yes.
Winfrey.
Yes.
Parker.
Yes.
Staley Ferry.
Yes.
Babbage.
Yes.
Wilhelmie.
Yes.
Hart.
Yes.
Tumanello.
Yes.
Weigel.
Yes.
Collins.
Yes.
Berry.
Yes.
And Eustace.
Yes.
Thank you.
22 affirmative.
22 affirmative. We are in public hearing. Please be advised, absolute no new evidence or information will be allowed once this land use public hearing is closed. Today we have two cases to be heard. Case 6283-S and case 6285-M. We do have two individuals to sign up, Scott Flanagan and Pat Flanagan. They are wanting to, do you want to speak or?
We're here to answer questions only.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Argadell. Anyone from the public that wishes to speak on either one of these cases? Anyone from the public that wishes to make a statement on these two cases? Last call on anyone for wishing to speak. Mr. Weigel.
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Mr. Weigel moves to close the hearing, second by Mr. Crickleone. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Sure. Brooks.
Yes.
Howard.
Yes.
Ogalla.
Yes.
Singer.
Yes.
Moran.
Yes.
Rice.
Yes.
Harris.
Yes.
Benefield.
Yes.
Fritz.
Yes.
Freitag. Gould.
Yes.
Griswold.
Yes.
Winfrey.
Yes.
Parker.
Yes.
Staley Ferry.
Yes.
Babbage.
Yes.
Wilhelmie.
Yes.
Hart.
Yes.
Tumanello.
Yes.
Weigel.
Yes.
Collins.
Yes.
Berry.
Yes.
And Eustace.
Yes.
Thank you.
22 affirmative.
22 affirmative, motion is carried. Continue, Mr. Weigel.
Okay, our first zoning case, 6283-S. This is a special use permit for landscape and lawn business in an A1 zoning district near the village of Mokina with 12 conditions. They have worked out an agreement with the village, and the village and the township are in agreement. I'll make a motion to approve.
Moved by Mr. Weigel, second by Mr. Tumanello. Any discussion? Any previous roll by Mr. Babbage, second by Mr. Wilhelmie. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Contrary motion is carried.
Next zoning case, 6285M, is a map amendment from E2 to A1 in Green Garden Township. Committee recommends approval, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Weigel, second by Ms. Hart. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Winfrey, second by Ms. Rice. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Contrary motion is carried.
That concludes our zoning cases. We have one resolution concerning an ordinance change to allow chickens in residential districts. Right now, they're required to get a special use permit, which costs about $650, and the chickens cost about $1 a piece. The residents would be required to keep the chickens on their own property. They have to be 50 feet from adjacent residents. And they are currently allowed in the E1 and E2 zoning districts. Committee recommends approval. I so move to approve the ordinance change.
Moved by Mr. Weigel, second by Ms. Fritz. Any discussion? Any discussion on this very important issue? Seeing none, previous roll call by Mr. Babbage, second by Ms. Staley Ferry. All in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary, motion has carried. Would you like to be vote, Reagan?
Yes, please, yes.
Thank you.
Motion is carried. Mr. Weigel?
That concludes my report. Our next meeting will be on March 8th. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Finance Committee, Mr. Frizzalone.
Good morning, Wilmington County. And we have monthly reports to place on file. First report is a report from the Illinois Department of Revenue showing our sales tax in Will County for the month of November 2015 to be $1,589,041.79. The RTA tax received is $1,927,268.46 for a total of $3,516,283.25. We also have the Will County Monthly County Treasurer Report dated December 31st, 2015, and we have the quarterly financial report for the fiscal year ending November 30th, 2015 from our county auditor, Dr. Blackman. So we're going to put those all on file. So
Moved by Mr. Frizzalone, second by Ms. Hart. Any discussion? Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, motion is carried.
we have 16-28, appropriation of funds by the HST Pregnancy Prevention Grant. I so move.
Moved by Mr. Frizzalone, second by Ms. Collins. Any discussion? Any discussion? Previous roll by Mr. Gould, second by Mr. Tumanello. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
16-29, appropriation of funds for the HRSA supplemental funding to 330 grant, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Frizzalone, second by Ms. Rice. Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Howard, second by Mr. Babbage. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
We have 16-30, which increases appropriation in the GIS budget, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Frizzalone, second by Mr. Brooks. Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Ferry, second by Ms. Winfield. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
And we have 16-31, authorizing the county executive to execute necessary documents for delinquent tax program, and I so move.
Moved by Mr. Frizzalone, second by Ms. Freitag. Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Parker, second by Mr. Ferry. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
And our next Finance Committee meeting is scheduled for March 1st at 10 a.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is our Public Works and Transportation Committee. Mr. Gould, Chairman.
Good morning, Mr. Executive and fellow board members. My first resolution is 16-32, authorizing the name change of a portion of former Exchange Street.
I got you.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Try it again. 1632, authorizing the name change of a portion of former Exchange Street to Old Exchange Street, located in County Board District 1. I move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Gould, second by Ms. Freitag. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll call by Ms. O'Gallagher, second by Mr. Tumanello. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
Resolution 1633, confirming an award of contract to deconstruction led on January 20th, 2016, to East Frontage Road over Grant Creek, County Board 6. I move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Gould, second by Ms. Freitag. Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Rice, second by Mr. Howard. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
Resolution 1634, for improvement by the county under the Illinois Highway Code for the East Frontage Road over Grant Creek, County Board District 6, using MFT funds. Move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Gould, second by Mr. Ferry. Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Hart, second by Stady Ferry. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion is carried.
1635, an ordinance authorizing approval of the establishment of an altered speed zone, Zone 548, County Board District 7. I move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Gould, second by Mr. Frizzalone. Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Wilhelmy, second by Mr. Harris. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
Resolution 1636, authorizing the Will County State's Attorney's Office to proceed with condemnation cases regarding the county's improvements on Cedar Road over Spring Creek, County Board District 7. Mr. Executive, we do have speakers signed up in this matter. I think the first order of business is for me to make a motion to place this on the floor for approval.
Thank you. Moved by Mr. Gould, second by Ms. Parker. We do have speakers. We need a motion to suspend the rules.
Mr. Executive, I would make that motion to suspend the rules to allow the speakers at this time.
Second by Ms. Freitag. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion carried. We have a number of speakers. Our first one that has signed up is John Couch. Now, I think a lot of this is going to be the same information, so you've got time to make your statement, but we don't want to get repetitive. But you're all welcome to come up and make a statement. And these microphones are very, very sensitive, so you don't have to lean into them. They'll pick up your voice. Standing right when you are right now there, John.
Thank you very much, Mr. Walsh. My name is John Couch. I'm a longtime Will County resident. And Mr. Gould, we'd just like to ask and thank you all. I'm sure you've done an incredible amount of hard work in planning for the bridge and the future plans for Will County. Everybody has done a great job. That said, today we're asking you not to stop progress or change progress. Maybe we could just redirect the progress. We love our property. We have been stewards of it. We are incredibly proud, and we invite any of you to come visit us. Again, please don't stop progress. I love Will County. I love being here. But if you could see it within yourselves to find a way where we don't have to break a rule, but we can just bend the rule or bend that road around our property, you would make all of us proud to be Will County residents. And again, incredibly appreciate the work that it takes to do this in the planning. And I thank you all for taking a moment to hear us out today to see if we can find a way to do things even better than we already do in Will County. Mr. Executive, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Couch. Next up is Seth Peterson. Next in line will be Brenda Peterson.
Thank you, Larry, for this time. Thank you, Will County Board members, also for hearing us speak today. I'm going to kind of shoot from the hip here and just state how I feel. The bridge widening project in and of itself, I don't know that we necessarily have an issue with. What we are concerned with is its development to the east. It will negatively affect ultimately 15 homes in its current progress. That's something we're looking to change if at all possible. It's our understanding there was plans initially to go to the west with this project. If this project is to go to the west, it will negatively impact only one home, ultimately. And I'm not saying that's good, but a 14-to-1 ratio is much better than a total cumulative of 15 homes being negatively impacted. I also struggle with some of the finance position of it. There's a lot of vacant farmland there that could be used instead of taking people's homes, families, businesses, affecting so many when we can affect very, very few. I hope you hear what I'm saying on this. Financially, we struggle with how does the Will County DOT come up with acquiring improved homes and that pricing versus basically vacant farmland. If they did widen the bridge the way I see it, again, this is the way I see it, I'm not an engineer, if they widened it at this date strictly to the west with 3 lanes, If there's any way they could not even do the approach, they would not negatively impact any homes at this time. As the construction progressed, we would only be working on one side of the road, only one ditch line, only one set of utilities, thereby eliminating lane closures. They could work on the 3 lanes, leaving 2 open, not impacting anybody and everybody like they are. If it continues the way it is, again, 15 homes will be negatively impacted, all of us, and there's 15 that are slated in question. At the current rate, it will affect all of us. If it can be moved to the west like it was originally planned, we can get it down to 1. And ultimately, that 1, right now, I don't think should even be impacted either. So, thank you. I hope I made my point. Appreciate it, Mr. Welch.
Thank you, Seth. Next up, Brenda. And after Brenda is Diana Peterson.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Brenda Peterson. Pardon me, I had a little bit of a cold I'm struggling with this morning. I stand before you today pleading for the reversal of this bridge widening from going east to the west. From what I understand, it was previously slated to go to the west, and now it's aggressively showing it's going to the east. The land that you're going to vote on today for condemnation, it's beautiful, rolling hills, 200 to 300-year-old oak trees, 60 to 70-foot evergreens that will all be destroyed. This is an area where my children have grown up playing. It's hard to get them to go home. They play in the creek, they climb the trees, they run up and down Grandma's hills. They'll all be gone if this tends to pass. I leave you with a few questions. Why do we need to destroy trees, homes, land, when we can see that there is open space to the west? It's not just farmland, there's open space there. And why do we need to cost the taxpayers more money on this issue when, once again, it looks that there's an open option to the west? This is not neighbor against neighbor. It just, if you come out and look at the property, you'll see that there is a more reasonable option, a less costly option. May God be with you in making your decisions today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next up is Diana Peterson. After that will be Karen Turner.
Good job.
I am Diana Peterson. I am the owner of the property that is being impacted. The proposed bridge over Spring Creek would encompass more than just that. It would encompass Cedar Road to be widened to 5 lanes. The impact on my property would be just devastating. To widen the road, WillDOT is supposed to go equal distance in each direction from the center line. This is not the case. The road width plus an additional 4 feet approaching the front of my property is being impacted. In addition, it angles to a pie shape in the back of the property, taking even more than 4 feet from the center line. This was taken from IDOT's plans. This is only stage 1 of this road widening. My property is on the corner of Shablum and Cedar. Shablum is a 2-lane road. If the proposal were to go through, a traffic light would need to be installed because you have a 2-lane road, meaning 5 lanes, you need a traffic light. That would be more impact on my property. This all can be easily rectified just by going to the west, as it was originally planned during the making of the mall. No homes or properties would be taken, less cost to the taxpayers. If this goes forward, my home and property will not only be compromised, it will be devastated. I have been humbled and humiliated during this process, but after all, it is my home. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane. Next up, Karen Turner, and then after that, Jacqueline Helm.
Good morning. I didn't know I was going to be speaking today, so forgive me. For those of you who maybe don't understand, I am Diana's daughter. My parents bought their home 30 years ago. It's a 5-acre parcel, and in those 30 years, they have improved it. They have been good stewards of the land. It is beautiful. There, it looks like a park. My father passed about 5 years ago, and his memory, the gifts of his herbs and gardens and everything are there. Mom receives a letter saying they want to come and take some of her land. They had it staked, and you're not there, you don't see it, you don't know. But the stakes, and I'm talking to you in the back, Mr. Gould, a little bit, put it so that it's basically this road will be on top of Mom's house. And it pies in the back, so then it goes to the back. Basically, they are trying to force her out. This is home. My mother is 73 years old and she's a widow, and she has been a wonderful taxpayer, a wonderful neighbor, a wonderful homeowner. When I walked in this morning, I see a big sign that says, Will County, Protect America Community. Seriously? Protecting whom? Greed? I'm sorry if I'm a little emotional. But this is my mother, this is my home, these are our memories. We don't have a qualm fixing a bridge. There's no problem fixing a bridge. But to take a 2-lane road that really doesn't have much traffic and make it into 5, it makes you wonder what the plans are down the road. It makes you wonder about the other homeowners who also will have a road going right to their home. There are those in this room who say, oh, we're not taking anybody's home, we're just going to take a little bit. Really? It's like saying, I'm just going to take the back half of your car, it'll still go. It's not the same. When is the greed going to stop, people? When? We don't want anybody's land impacted. But you go to the east, there are no homes. It's just scrubby farmland. They're not taking someone's home. And I need you to think on this. I need you to think, as people, when does it stop? Will County, we protect America. My father was a garbage man, and he created a little haven for him and Mom and Seth and I. And that will be gone. And it will be gone because of greed. So please, I just ask that you think on it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Jacqueline, and the next up would be Richard Davis. Podium, please.
Good morning, I'm Jacqueline Helms. I'm the attorney for the Petersons in this matter. I'm here more for a legal perspective. I feel like my clients have done a nice job explaining the emotional aspects of their situation. I would start always in a condemnation case by reminding the elected officials, that this is a fundamental constitutional property right that's being taken from Peterson involuntarily, their property rights. So this is a serious matter. My clients have submitted questions to the county. I'm sure you all received a copy. I read through the answers to these questions. It seems that the county is ignoring the long-term impacts of this project and the long-term reason for this project. When a condemnation suit is filed, there must be necessity. That's necessary precedent to a condemnation suit legally. The only necessity that I can see is for a long-term expansion of the road, widening the bridge would come first, then in the future the road would be expanded. The way the plans have been developed up till now, the bridge widening would ensure that a future widening of the road would occur on the east side of the road where my client's property. So when I read the answers to these questions, they seem to take the situation in a vacuum as if there's not going to be a future road widening. But what is going to occur with the bridge will determine how the road is widened, meaning will it be widened on the east side or on the west side. So when my clients have arguments regarding the cost of the taxpayers, the impact on property owners, this is all in relation to the fact that the bridge widening is setting up the road widening. And as far as the necessity, if there is no road widening, we see no necessity. If there's no plan, there's no necessity. And you cannot take their property constitutionally without necessity. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Davis?
Good morning. Excuse me. My name is Richard Davis. I live on Summerfield Drive. It's a small neighborhood south of this bridge, just about a mile south. And I wasn't really made aware of the proposed widening of Cedar Avenue by any official means. Mrs. Peterson and I think it's John Turling notified me of the future plans. And I, as the previous speaker, just concerned about the common sense reasoning of expanding Cedar Road to the east, which has already been said affects several homes. I would be curious when the homeowners are going to be officially notified of plans. I don't know what the process is, but as already has been said, there needs to be some reconsideration of the reasoning as to why a road would be expanded into established homes instead of the opposite direction into basically cornfields. So I guess that's all I wanted to say at this point. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Davis. Anyone else from the general public that wants to speak on this issue? Mr. Gould, do you wish to speak on this issue, Bruce?
Thank you, Mr. Executive.
Come on down here so everybody can see you and everyone in the mic first.
Good morning, Mr. Executive.
Good morning, Bruce.
Board members. I defer to the members of the county board. If there's any questions, I'm here to answer them.
Mr. Friswold.
Not a question so much, but can you just explain, because I know there's been a lot of different things said, about going to the east, not going to the west. Can you just give a little summary of the topography system, where this is at?
Yeah, the way we're designing this project and the existing bridge that sits there today, all our right-of-way is based on the section line of Cedar Road. The existing right-of-way that is out there today was purchased off the section line. We are also the additional right-of-way that is needed for the 5-lane bridge, and I'll get to that in a second, is based on the section line. We're building it equally on both sides of the road. So from the section line, equal construction both sides. We're not pushing it from one side to the other, it's equal. There's been comments made about why are we going to a 5-lane structure? And on our 2030 plan, which is our long-range transportation plan, which has been on our website, which we had public hearings on, which was passed by the Will County Board in 2009, shows Cedar Road to be a 5-lane road. And the decision that was made when we moved forward on this project, which we've been planning on this since 2001, what we decided to do, instead of just replacing a 2-lane structure today, and then have to go back years later and acquire more right-of-way and widen the bridge out, we felt it'd be prudent, cheaper for taxpayers in the county to go ahead and move forward with the 5-lane structure today. And that's what we are doing. There are 4 properties that are being affected on this project. 2 on the east side and 2 on the west side. On the west side, the same property owner owns both parcels. What I would like to comment on also, there's been a lot of talk about relocating this structure to the west. If we relocate the structure to the west, the dwelling, the 1-acre parcel, which has a dwelling on it, will be a total take. That house will be removed. I want to make that clear. So at this point in time, we're taking right-of-way equally on both sides. And as a matter of fact, along the Peterson property, we are taking 10 foot less to try to reduce the impact on our. Yes, sir.
2 other questions then. One, how close will this come to the Peterson house? And then secondly, when the street gets fully built out years from now, how many homes would have to be taken?
Okay. To answer the question with the right-of-way, at this point in time, with the right-of-way that we show, there would be 20 foot from the right-of-way line to the corner of the house. Now that's the right-of-way. That's not the road. The road, if the 5-lane cross-section goes through, the back of curb to the existing house on the section line would be approximately 51 feet. Okay? I'm sorry, what?
The second one was about, once it expands fully the road, how many homes would
Okay,
you take?
there's also been some comments about we're going to condemn parcels to the south. At this point in time, I don't see any parcels that would be condemned. When we relocate the road to the west, there will be, in this project, there will be a complete take of the existing house on the west side, which is occupied. There's been a lot of comments made by people that say it's unoccupied, there's nobody there, it's vacant. That is not true. We talked to the property owner this morning, and her brother has lived in that house his whole life, and he lives there today. So it is not a vacant parcel.
And then also, what of this previous plan that was supposed to be on the west side, was there ever a previous plan that was supposed to be on the west side?
No, sir. We never had any plans. We don't, the only plans that we have are the plans that we made for the structure. We don't have any roadway plans for Cedar Road from Route 6 to 159th Street. But our 2030 plan does show the widening for that section of road with the growth.
And if we decided to change everything, what kind of additional cost would it be?
Well, just for the structure alone, we are talking minimal $500,000, just for the structure alone. That includes that is only right-of-way and engineering. That's not what it would take to do some engineering with the roadway to put in some curbs. And what I would like to tell members also, this structure, this project is federally funded. With that being said, of course, we have to go through a lot of process. We have to go through phase 1, phase 2, like we do on all our projects. We relocate it, we start over with our engineering, and as we've talked about on other projects where we start looking at redesigning, it's very difficult to go back to the Federal Highway Administration and ask for additional funds when they have already contributed to the existing project.
Okay, next up is Mr. Tumanello.
Thank you, Mr. Executive. Member Frizzalone asked every one of the questions that I had written down, so I yield to Mr. Singer at this time.
Thank you. Next up is Mr. Singer.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I just wanted to highlight one of the things that Bruce had said as a response to Mr. Frizzalone's question. When I was the chairman of the Transportation Committee, we passed Bill. I don't ever recall this expansion ever being planned west of that center. I don't ever recall that it was, in a sense, drawn to be in one place and then moved to another. Can you just reconfirm that some of those comments we heard this morning were accurate?
Absolutely. Yeah, in our 2030 plan in Buildwell, we've never had any other plan.
It's never been changed. It wasn't drawn to the west and then moved further east. That's just not true or accurate. Additionally, you have to understand that if the bridge were to be moved west, you're talking about miles, at least a mile, of an entire realignment of Cedar Road. You can't just move the bridge west and not have very long tapers from the north to south to get you there. We're talking millions and millions and millions of dollars to do this. I mean, it's one thing to say it costs $500,000 just to redesign the bridge, but that doesn't include all of the relocation costs to move the road to the west to do that. This is what we've heard this morning as a request from the homeowners would cost the county millions and millions of dollars. And I think that we should point that out because in contrast, there were some claims made that it costs us more to do it this way. The reality is it would be far more expensive to move west. But additionally, if we did that, it would also, in my opinion, and I'm looking for your answer on this, it would also require a complete realignment and reconstruction of the intersection at 6th and Cedar.
Well, it absolutely would, unless we offset Cedar Road.
Yeah, and that is, now at this point, we're talking a really, really, really big number.
No, you're right, because, yeah, if we continued on that line, then the intersection of Cedar Road and Route 6 would now be offset from the south leg of the intersection.
Correct. And it would also require that Cedar Road south of 6th that has to be realigned, impacting all that property.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Ms. Fritz, you had had a question?
Mr. Gould withdrew the question.
Okay, thank you. Next up is Mr. Mustis.
I would perhaps like to address going forward. And I know, Bruce, when we show, here's what potential taking is of land, we do have some ability going forward, though, during the negotiations to mitigate best we can impact. I'm saying this because what people see today, we could try to ease the impact as much as we can. So I'm asking about as we go forward and negotiate, and I encourage people to negotiate and don't ignore the process that goes forward. So what is your ability to try to help mitigate impact to folks during while we go forward in the negotiation?
Yeah, what we do, we always try to negotiate in good faith. We don't, the last resort is condemnation. Even though we bring forward this resolution in front of you this morning, and it's for all the parcels. It's not just for this parcel, it's for all of them. We are in negotiations with the other property owners. That doesn't mean that sometimes things can't go south on us, which would require it. But that's a last resort. We don't file unless there is no other alternative. That's how we've always gone. During the negotiation process, if there are things that we can do to lessen the impact, if we can make design changes, we will do that. But we have to go through the negotiation process to get to that point. When our negotiator originally contacted the Petersons, their attorney, their counsel, they weren't interested in negotiating. We have not been able to negotiate with them. We are negotiating with the other property owners. But we will continue to try to move forward if they will sit down with us.
Okay, Mr. Commissioner.
Yes, thank you.
Next up, Mr. Weigel.
Bruce, how wide is the pavement of these 5 lanes? How many feet?
The structure itself is 84 feet. What that includes is 64 foot of pavement and 2 10-foot shoulders on the structure. That's for the structure. Because the 5-lane bridge, in the future, when the 5-lane road goes through, we have to have a shoulder because we have a concrete parapet wall. We can't have the traffic right alongside. So that's for the structure alone. For the pavement, it will be 64 foot.
And why do you need 150 feet of right-of-way for 64 foot of pavement?
Well,
Won't we narrow the right-of-way down?
if in fact we can narrow the right-of-way down, Mr. Weigel, we will do that. At this location, we are not taking 75 feet. At the structure, at the Peterson property, we're taking 65 feet. Then we are moving out wider as you get closer to the structure because we need that for the structure itself and to do work in the channel. But along their frontage, along Chicago-Wilmington Trail, until we get close to the structure, we're only taking 60.
You say you have to stay on the center line. I don't think that's written in stone or it's a law that you have to be on the center line. If you get away from the structure, I think you could move the road west, going south of the structure, and you wouldn't impact all of the residents on the east side of Cedar Road. There's vacant land there. I think you should design, you can curve the road a little bit. I drive down roads every day, they curve this way and that way. I can steer my car, no problem at all. I don't know why you feel you have to have a straight road all the time down the center line of the road.
Okay, well, I didn't say that we have to build it on the section line, but that is really the policy, and that's how all the right-of-way is built. The existing right-of-way is off the section line. So no, we could relocate the road, but when you're saying open land, it's not only open A1 land. As you get closer to Route 6, there is a very large commercial parcel at the corner, which the members that were here around 2008, if you recall, there was the large commercial complex that was going to go in there, and that is all in the village of New Lenox. North of there is all zoned residential and R4, which is multi-unit. And then as you go further to the north, there is some agriculture. But it isn't just agricultural zoned property. It is used for agricultural purposes at the moment.
The property north of Route 6 on the west side, which the village in New Lenox has future plans for commercial development. I talked to the mayor last couple of days. They don't have a problem with moving the road west. They would like to see the road improved eventually, and they don't want to impact the residents on the east side of the road. So the village, I think, would be in favor of moving it to the west.
I have a pretty good relationship with Mayor Baldwin. I have not spoken to him about this specifically, But if in fact that was his desire, he has not relayed that to me.
I asked him to be here today, but he said he had a meeting at 10:30, he couldn't be.
Next up is Mr. Howard.
I want to go back to the section lines for a moment. I know recently there was a question in Washington Township on Indiana Ave with that bridge that was built along the section line. And I believe if you look at the history of the section lines, basically that's the way all of the property was developed. Am I correct on that, saying that? And also too, when the majority of the property owners will own even on a county road to the center of the road, is that correct?
It's dedicated right away, they will own to the center of the road.
And generally, that was set up originally in the 1800s or so for the property line. So the idea, I think, back then is basically you go from the section line, equally you impact the property owner on each side, correct?
Yep.
Is that a good assumption?
Yeah, just a little history lesson. Township form of government in the state of Illinois. The township road system, 36 square miles typically. It changes, but the townships are basically 36 square miles. Each section, it's 6 by 6 square. And the section lines, when the original surveyors came out and surveyed the section lines, that is what the roadways were based off of, those section lines. The dedication of right-of-way was based off the section line. And the dedications for the property owners were based on that. That's how we got our road system. Obviously it changes. There could be factors where the section line changes. And as you go to county lines, you got the county line jobs, so they job.
But one,
Correct? You know how it works.
Fractional townships too.
And fractional. Yeah, as you go to along the Kankakee River.
Washington, it's a different situation.
Fractional out at Washington Township and Crete Township, there are more because it's the state line. It would be less. Wesley Township, along Kankakee River is less. But the basic is 36 square miles.
okay, but along that line, if we bump that bridge over, basically the majority of that road was designed along the section line. So basically, we're going to create another curve in the road, which, as Mr. Singer pointed out, that's going to have a financial impact, a large financial impact down the road.
Absolutely.
Am I correct on that?
Absolutely.
Okay. And also, too, where we get some of the curvatures in the roads is, that has to do with curvature of the earth.
That's where
Why you got offsets in the roads?
yeah, the county lines and that, you're correct on.
All right, thank you.
Next up, Ms. Hart.
I am really quick. I would like to call for the vote, but being the president of the Forest Reserve, I must ask about the trees. What was the whole thing with the trees? Because I had heard different stories of how many trees that were going down, and I heard at one time 300 trees. Is that? In big?
Not on this project.
Okay. So
No,
that we don't.
there's a minimal. And as I said with Mr. Eustace's comment, we'll mitigate as much as we can to do the least impact that we can. But I think the largest impact on the largest tree, I should say, on the one parcel we're talking about specifically, is I remember the plans were a 22-inch tree.
Oh,
That's
it's a little different than what I was hearing.
And if you drive down Cedar Road and look, there is a tremendous amount of trees in the right-of-way, in the existing 40 feet. If you look at the fence lines, you look at the trees along there, there's a lot in the right-of-way. Those are existing that, part of what our road system is now.
Okay. Thank you.
Next up, Ms. O'Gallagher.
Bruce, I have a couple questions for you. First, I was wondering, how old is the current bridge structure?
1957.
1957.
59, 60, it's going to 60.
Okay.
So I used to work for a little township road district, and I work with the road crew, and I know that is one of the things that we are going through throughout the entire county. Each township's doing their own is bridge improvements because the old bridges are crumbling and falling apart. So it's really important for the safety of everybody traveling that we upgrade our bridges. So I just wanted to ask then, so the current layout where it is right now, is it skewed off the section line?
3 feet,
3 feet?
yes.
Because I know, go
I'm
ahead.
I'm sorry. And that question was raised to me, why the 3 foot? 60 years ago, I can't answer that. A lot of times, the structures were placed, which was the easiest place to put it too. They weren't necessarily on the section line. Mr. Howard brought up the one we just replaced on Indiana Avenue. There is a jog, it was off the section line. Many times what they did 50, 60, 80, 100 years ago, they would place those structures where it was the easiest to place them and the cheapest. So they may not be necessarily exactly on the section. This one is 3 foot off the section.
Okay, because I know replacing roads out in township, in Will Township, which is in eastern Will County, we just have rural roads out there, but I'm sure at one point this was a rural road. And so sometimes what happened was trees were in the middle, in the right of way, and so cars just sort of drove this way and drove that way. So the road kind of generally moved over the course of time, and this way maybe 3 feet, you know. And it could have changed as time goes. And I know that it's very hard when we would do a road improvement from a stone road to a tar and chip road, which is all we have in eastern Will County. And you would come across the property owners, and you have to put the road back on the section line where it should be. Because that way, it is fair for all the property owners. I shouldn't take more of your land, nor should, you know, and I don't want to give you any of mine. So we would have to do that, and in doing that, property owners are very upset. And over the course of time, little trees randomly grow up here and there, and now they're full-grown trees. Could be nice trees, could be grubby trees, doesn't really matter. A tree is a tree, and everybody loves a tree because it provides the, they look nice, and they provide shade, which is nice. But if it's in the right-of-way, for the right clearance, for the road crew to get down the roads, and everything like that, it does become necessary to unfortunately take down trees. And I know that's a hardship, nobody likes to lose a tree, and I understand that, but it is necessary.
Well, and what you said is exactly true. The section line will not change. And that section line was originally surveyed back 1800s or earlier when the township was formed. That section line stays where it is. And you have many situations where the road may meander through that. Basically, the 66 foot was the basic right-of-way. I was out in Will Township many times working for the highway commissioner, and I'd go out and I'd lay out the section. And the roads they meander. And we would have problems out there when we go and try to put it back on the section line because those roads were not, the existing pavement was not centered on the section. But the right-of-way dedication was off the section.
Right, and so that makes it very hard for the property owners. And I just really want to say this, because I live on a farm, and I hear this all the time, that people feel that their home is more important than my farm. And I just want to say this. In America, everybody's property is very important. It's very special. And no one's property is more important than your own. And so I understand that. I get where everybody feels, and I understand that. I feel for you. I live out in the area where they'd like to put an airport. And many people have lost property there via condemnation even now, and there isn't even an airport or funding or anything. So this is a road. We have to do the bridge structures throughout the county for safety. We've got trucks that are way heavier than they used to be. We've got this on your 5-year plan for replacement, and it makes sense that we do this, and it makes sense that we go ahead and put the 5-lane structure in now. We have no idea if when 2030 rolls around that we'll actually put that 5-lane in. That's a changing thing as we evolve. Depends on the growth of the county. So I just wanted to say that. I wanted to clarify that. And then I do want to say that farmland is very important because when you go home today, you're going to be eating. And that, what you're eating came from a farm.
And it is just as important, and their home is just as important as where you live. And it's a hard thing, and being a highway transportation person, as Bruce Gould, it's a hard thing, but unfortunately, we have to make hard decisions. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Gould.
Mr. Brooks.
Oh, Mr. Brooks, you didn't have your hand? Oh,
His light's on.
oh,
I thought we put the light on. Okay.
there you go.
Thank you so much. Mr. Executive, I think we've heard a very good dialogue today of both sides of this issue. And Mr. Gould has informed us as well as this audience has informed us. And I think with the dialogue that we've heard so far has given us enough information for me to come to this point and call the question, because I think we all have a better understanding now. So my request, Mr. Executive, that we call the question. Thank you, sir.
And I'll make a motion for the previous roll call.
Second.
Don, you got a comment?
No, just a roll call vote, please.
Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Did we go out of public commentary?
We're not in it.
Suspended the rules.
Suspended the rules. We don't go into public hearing.
Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Sure. Brooks?
So the question is, we're voting now on,
The motion is that Mr. Gould made to support the authorization of the condemnation.
all right, I understand.
1636.
Thank you. Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
O'Gallo?
Yes.
Singer?
Yes.
Moran?
Yes.
Rice?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Benefield?
Yes.
Fritz?
Yes.
Freitag?
Yes.
Gould?
No.
Griswold?
No.
Winfrey?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Staley Ferry?
Yes.
Babbage?
Yes.
Wilhelmie?
Yes.
Hart?
Yes.
Tumanello?
No.
Weigel?
No.
Collins?
Yes.
Ferry?
Yes.
And Eustace?
Yes.
Thank you.
Nineteen affirmative, 4 negative.
19 affirmative, 4 negative, motion has carried. Please continue, Mr. Gould.
And resolution 1637, authorizing an agreement between the County of Will and Northern Illinois Gas Company for the reimbursement for relocating facilities along 135th Street, County Board Districts 3 and 7. I move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Gould, seconded by Ms. Parker. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Brooks?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
O'Gallo?
Yes.
Singer?
Yes.
Moran? Rice? Harris?
Yes.
Benefield?
Yes.
Fritz?
Yes.
Freitag?
Yes.
Gould?
Yes.
Griswold?
Yes.
Winfrey?
Yes.
Parker? Staley Ferry?
Yes.
Babbage? Wilhelmie? Hart?
Yes.
Tumanello? Weigel?
Yes.
Collins? Ferry?
Yes.
And Eustace?
Yes.
Thank you.
23 affirmative.
23 affirmative, motion has carried. Please.
Resolution 1638, authorizing an agreement between the County of Will and West Shore Pipeline Company for the reimbursement for relocating facilities along 135th Street, County Board Districts 3 and 7, and I move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Gould, seconded by Mr. Ferry. Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Babbage, seconded by Mr. Wilhelmie. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
Thank you, Mr. Executive. Appreciate everybody's time and attention today. Our next meeting is March the 1st at 9 o'clock.
Thank you, Don. Thank you very good committee report. Next up is Judicial Committee. Mr. Penfield, Chairman.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman.
Good morning.
Fellow board members. Nothing to report this month for the Judicial Committee. I would just like to say that our next scheduled meeting is for March 1st at 9 a.m. And please feel free to attend.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Next up, Public Health and Safety Committee, Ms. O'Gallo, Chairperson.
Thank you, County Executive Welch. Before I begin today, I would like to take a moment to ask everyone to welcome. We have a lot of residents here from Sunny Hill. We have with us today, we have our Executive Director, we have Karen, if we can wave. We have our Assistant Administrator, Becky. We have our activities lady, Betty, with us. She is the dancing queen on Mardi Gras.
And we have Roger, who is an awesome guy. He is our bus transportation, and then he volunteers. He works everywhere. Wherever they tell him to go, he goes. He even fills in for me when I am running late from here for ice cream. And then most importantly, we have our residents from Sunny Hill in the first row. So if you guys would all wave so they can see where you're at, I would appreciate that. These are our residents. They're a very invigorating crowd. They're buzzing about that place all the time, and I enjoy visiting with a lot of them. So I'm just glad that they came out today. I want you guys to welcome. Thank you. Okay, first I have some reports to be placed on file. Our first report is the Will County Regional Office of Education. It's our quarterly report. It's from October 1st, 2015 through December 1st, 2015. That report is submitted to us by Dr. Sean Walsh, who's the Regional Superintendent of Schools. My second report is our Veterans Assistance Commission. And this is prepared by Superintendent, which is Christina McNichol. And so some people may not really be aware of what that commission does. I just was going to read a little brief part that she prepared to the governor. The goal of the Veteran Assistance Commission is to be a clearinghouse for the Will County veterans and social services agency within the county. The Veterans Assistance Commission has the ability to gain access to resources for very specific veteran needs. Through outreach services, we are able to find, research, and substantiate each resource agency that we refer our veterans to. Our office believes that no information is better than misinformation. For this reason, we ensure that the agencies, government organizations, and education facilities we work with understand what the Will County Veterans Assistance provides, and as we understand what they need, what they offer. So it's a very important organization for Will County to have, work with us so that our veterans can find the necessary things that they need as they move forward. I'd like to place those reports on file.
Moved by Ms. O'Donnell, second by Mr. Frisbone. All in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
Thank you. My next is a resolution 1639, renewing contract for pharmaceutical and consulting services at Sunny Hill Nursing Home for Informed Extended Care Services, and I so move.
Moved by Ms. O'Donnell, second by Ms. Collins. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Parker, second by Ms. Rice. All in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary, motion is carried.
Next on my agenda is Resolution 1640, setting Sunny Hill census number for licensed bed capacity. And before we go there, I just want to give a little background. We're currently licensed for 227 beds. That's where we have 6 units. They call them avenues, 44 beds each. And we've had continuing renovation going on throughout the facility for a long time now. But the renovation has been totally well worth it. And we're currently on our last avenue, 6th Avenue. So during this process, audits have been done and such, and a new configuration is being designed. And I think it's very important that we recognize that this makes a lot of sense, because when you're a senior, it's hard enough when you can't live in your own home because you require care and services that your family just cannot do. So in doing that, we'll be able to offer our residents a private room and semi-private room. So we'll be going we'll still have our 6 avenues, which will have 26 residents. So we'll have 20 private rooms and 3 semi-private rooms. And semi-private rooms are like for families and things like that. We do have some married couples that live there and everything like that. So I think it's really good as the way the future is going for nursing homes, and understanding that just because you're elderly doesn't mean that you shouldn't have a place of your own entirely. And that's one of the things that Sunny Hill prides itself on, is being a home for the residents, not just somewhere that take your old grandma, put her and say, hey, grandma, see you for Halloween or whatever holiday. You go there, you visit, you have a wonderful time. The residents love being there. They have a lot of input into what happens at the nursing home. They even have input into who gets hired.
And if you guys don't go there, I encourage you to go. Spend some time. You can serve ice cream. You can enjoy a meal there, and find out that they really do enjoy living at our nursing home. And so anyway, I would like to move 1640 for a vote, for resolution for a vote. Thank you.
Moved by Mr. Ogala, second by Mr. Tumanello. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Miss Staley Perry, second by Mr. Harris. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary motion is carried.
And my final resolution is 1641, which is Sunny Hill Nursing Home admission policy for non-county residents. And this is for our total census. So if we have residents who would like to come, we have people who would like to come and be a resident at Sunny Hill Nursing Home, we're setting the procedure for what rules will follow for that. So if the census is below 141 and there are no waiting lists for Will County residents, and the non-Will County resident at one time resided in Will County and was a taxpayer for 5 years, they would get first preference. And another stipulation is if we are again below the 141 census level, we do not have a waiting list for Will County residents, and an immediate family member of the non-Will County resident resides in Will County, that they then also would have a preference. So I would like to move 1641 for a vote.
Moved by Ms. Ogala, second by Mr. Grizzlong. Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Babbage, second by Mr. Moran. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary motion is carried.
And that is all that I have today, and the next Public Health and Safety Committee meeting is scheduled for Thursday, March 3rd at 9 a.m. Hope to see you there.
Thank you very much, Judy. Moving on to the Legislative Policy Committee, Ms. Hart, chairperson.
Good morning.
Morning.
Here we go, okay, we just have a couple resolutions. My first one would be 16-42, establishing. Can't hear? I'm speaking.
You're on.
Just turn it off.
No, you just turned it off.
You're on
Now you got the controls right here.
All right, let me try this again.
Yeah.
Resolution 16-42, establishing the Will County 2017 federal legislative agenda and priorities, and I so move.
Moved by Ms. Hart, second by Ms. Rice. Any questions? Ms. Fritz?
In reading this document, I found it to be full of grammatical errors, and I don't think that this is something that Will County, as a group, we should say, this is our position, this is our document that we're willing to send out to the federal government or anyone else. So I will be voting against this until it is cleaned up and fixed and in good condition.
Thank you.
This is a draft.
Anything else? Go
Did
ahead.
I write, Nick, if you want to, this is a draft of what our legislative agenda is, Gretchen. This is not, a matter of fact, we were just talking about going down to DC, and Nick will go in and proof and clean up the verbiage. I'm correct? So this is not what exactly, this is just what our priorities are. This isn't the English form of letter. It's not going to be this beautiful thing right now, okay? Right? What do we do? We're not doing, like, we will go in. It'll end up being here. If you want to look at our other form, I mean, I'm not sure what.
Nick says he'll do
Well, Nick is doing it.
it. Okay.
Gretchen proofreads for a living.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have Gretchen work on it.
Any other comments? Any other comments? Motion second.
Second.
Any previous roll call by Mr. Brooks, second by Mr. Wilhelm. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, Ms. Fritz is a no. Thank you very much.
The next resolution is 16-43, opposing the sweep of special funds, and I so move.
Moved by Ms. Hart, second by Ms. Parker. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Moran, second by Mr. Harris. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, Ms. Fritz. You're yes. Thank you very much. The motion is carried.
Our next Legislative Policy Committee meeting is scheduled for March 8th at 9 a.m.
Thank you, Suzanne. Next up is capital improvements. Ms. Freitag, beginning Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Executive. Good morning. Good morning to the rest of the board. I have the first resolution, 16-44, awarding contract for facility remodeling phase 2 at the Court Annex for State's Attorney's Office. I so move.
Moved by Ms. Freitag, second by Ms. Collins. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll call by Ms. Winfrey, second by Ms. Rice. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion is carried.
Next, I have 16-45, authorizing Will County Public Building Commission to competitively procure and manage exterior concrete restoration work at the Will County Courthouse. I so move.
Moved by Ms. Freitag, second by Mr. Gould. Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Babbage, second by Mr. Harris. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion is carried.
Mr. Executive, I do want to remind the board and others that are here that, again, I will be heading up our Will County Board Relay for Life team. And we've started working with, thank you to Beth and Lana in our office, to start raising funds. We are going to be selling t-shirts. And they are purple, just like the Wilmington Wildcats. And we'll be selling them. It is the color for Relay for Life this year, too. So, but we will be selling them. There's going to be forms in the office. If anyone's interested, they'll be $15, and that will start our funds for the Relay for Life team, as well as each caucus. We're going to give them, it's a scratch and giveaway. Each caucus will have one of these forms, and any member of the caucus that chooses to scratch off, and it will ask you to donate $1, $5, $10. So each caucus will have that, and you can turn those into the office as well. And then we'll do the next one. Oh, next one. And we are trying to plan our bartending event that we did last year, so we'll get you information on that as well. Our next Capital Improvements Committee meeting is scheduled for March 1st at 11 a.m.
Thank you, Reagan. Next up is our Executive Committee, Mr. Mustis.
Good morning, Mr. Executive, County Board. My first item today is 1646, authorizing lease agreement for the Workforce Investment Fund. I'll move for approval.
By Mr. Mustis, second by Mr. Brooks. Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Ferry, second by Ms. Parker.
I'll be in session on that.
Okay. Second by Ms. Rice. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary? Ms. Parker is abstained. Okay. Motion is carried.
The next we have 1647, awarding bid for electronics recycling. Funds are available from the Solid Waste Management Fund, and I will move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Mustis, second by Ms. Winfrey. Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. O'Gala, second by Ms. Collins. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion has carried.
Next, 1648, authorizing contract for new county-wide radio system infrastructure. I will move for, this is the final contract which is attached, and I will move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Mustis, second by Mr. Gould. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Wilhelmi, second by Ms. Rice. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion is carried.
1649, authorizing IGA with Will Township for the Will County Mobility Management Plan, and I'll move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Mustis, second by Mr. Howard. Any questions? Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. O'Gala, second by Mr. Tumanello. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion is carried.
Next, we have 1550, authorizing amendment to the existing lease for the office space for the public defender, and I will move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Mustis, second by Mr. Moran. Any questions? Previous roll by Mr. Brooks, second by Mr. Wilhelmie. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion is carried.
Let's have the appointments of the county executive. I'll move for approval.
Moved by Mr. Mustis, seconded by Mr. Brooks. Any questions? Previous roll by Ms. Winfrey, second by Ms. Stady Ferry. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, motion is carried.
Mr. Executive, that concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Jim. Moving on, public comment. I don't think we have anybody signed up. Is there anyone here who wishes to address the board in public comment? Seeing none, moving on. Judy, Ms. Ogala?
Right, I apologize. I had my light on back when we did the federal legislative agenda. Since I just spoke, and I think you guys thought I must have still been on, and I actually turned myself off. So anyway, I would like to say something. I think that our federal legislative agenda is really good this year, that we're very focused on projects that need to get done. And I also think it's good, it's important that we have included the terminal for the Lewis University Airport, since it's our only corporate airport. And I know that some corporations will not allow their aircraft to fly in because there's not a terminal there.
Tower.
A tower, that's right, sorry, tower. Tower terminal, to me, I don't fly a lot, so. Traffic control tower, so we want more traffic at this existing airport. With that, I do want to bring up, and make it, I guess I'm speaking sort of the Governor Rauner here, and speaking to the rest of the board here, of what's continuing to go on in eastern Will County, is the continued taking of farmland by condemnation for an airport that doesn't exist. Doesn't exist, the airlines don't support it, there's no funding for it, the FAA has never approved it because the state of Illinois has never filed all the necessary documents to do that. With the condemnation cases, I would ask that we look at the Illinois eminent domain practice, continuing law education. It's page 248, section J, 265, abandonment, condemner's dismissal of the complaint, where this would give the state of Illinois the right to abandon the condemnation complaint at this time, allow those property owners to keep their farmland until which time the airport would actually become an actual possibility, which right now it is not. In addition to that, what happens is, and I have two Will County real estate parcels here that are in Will Township. These parcels were purchased from a landowner who rented them out. They were immediately, once they were purchased, just this last fall, November, they were raised. And then, so what happens is those tax dollars are lost. So I know our tax assessor always says, oh, we're not losing anything. Well, if we're not renting a home and we knock it down, that homestead sits there, no one builds on it, and we are losing taxes. What happens is, granted, the taxing bodies still levy their amount. So the taxing bodies don't ever lose taxes. But the residents who own that property, they lose money because they're paying more and more into that levy because there's less people paying into that pot. So, there's even been reports in the Daily Southtown and even the Tribune about the hefty price for condemning airport land for property. And the point here is we're spending all this money on an airport that might be built sometime. Was conversation about it started in the late 1960s. We're currently in 2016. I do live in the airport footprint, but aside from that, I've always been a voice for the residents out there. And I was 25 years old when I built my house. Currently, right now, I'm 55 years old. And this has been going on for 30 years, and we're no closer to building the airport today than we were then. And so further, I'm going to read a statement that Mr. Raumer had, Phil Cacker put into the Southtown Star back on June 12, 2014. I'm pretty skeptical about it, Raumer said. I don't know why politicians keep bringing it up. And I said to one guy, you know, people keep talking about Peatone. Show me the analysis of why putting billions of dollars into that makes sense. I want to see the numbers. Show me the numbers. Show me the analysis to why it makes sense. Nobody has done that. Nobody has been able to produce that for me.
Well, Governor Rauner and everybody here, no one has been able to produce that for me either, yet this still continues to happen. I have a family farm, it's over 100 years, this farm has been in the property, and they're currently in the condemnation process. If the state would go and abandon this case, this family would be able to continue to farm their farm and live in their farmhouse. And so I'm asking everyone here to get involved and join me in this effort. I know in the past when I've talked to Executive Walsh prior to Christmas, when they wanted to come in and appraise this property the week before Christmas, he said it was absolutely ridiculous that they were going to do that. This is what the state does. They harass people out there and for no purpose whatsoever. And then, you know, the question even came up is why, I don't even understand why they're still purchasing land. And for those of us in this boardroom sitting here, we want to have our taxpayers the least amount of tax dollars as possible. So that goes to the tax bill that the people get every year. And I know we're a small part of that, but that small part and with all the other parts that are on the tax bills for the residents in this airport footprint, which impact the taxing bodies of eastern Will County, those residents continue to pay more and more and more for a project that may never happen. So I just wanted to say that. I'm glad that we are supporting the control tower at Lewis University, but I think that this was a good time for me to bring this attention to this situation again. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy. Ms. Rice?
I just want to give a shout out to the Land Use Department. I know we have electronic recycling problem currently in Will County, and I know they've been working really hard and communicating to us. Excuse me. And I just want to acknowledge the great job they're doing communicating to us the problem and seeking out a solution. I know it's complex, but as someone that resides in Bolingbrook and out in Bolingbrook, because we're a municipality, we don't always have a lot of county questions coming to the county board members. That's something, there are questions about rumors, worry, concern, is Best Buy the only option? And I just really appreciate how hard Land Use is working on the solution. And it's kind of my shout out to them. And I hope that we continue to get that kind of communication.
Well, thank you very much. I'm sure Mr. Haddock appreciates your shout out. But you are right on target. You are right on target in regards to our recycling. And I'm telling you that Will County is the leader in moving this issue to the forefront because of, other counties evidently don't feel that they're going to be, hampered by this, but we have legislators in Springfield, especially Emily McCasey, Representative Emily McCasey, that has taken up the ball and really running with this. And so to Dean Olson and Marcia Keene in land use, the job well done. They are persistent in trying to get a solution to this problem. So thank you for your observation. Now, Republican Caucus Chair, Mr. Mayor isn't here. Mr. Fritz Long, you want to pick up Mr.
I will.
Mayor?
Well, I'd like to congratulate Wilmington for their fine efforts, but you all may not know that Will County is the capital of the cheerleading winners in the state of Illinois, because as Wilmington had won in the small division, in the large division, Joliet West came in first, Providence came in second, Nequa Valley came in third, and in the top 10 we also had Lincoln Way North and Lockport High School. So out of the top 10, we had 5 from this town. So we are to add. The only other thing I wanted to say, I want to apologize for my comments last year. I misspoke when I said the Cubs would win the World Series. Last year, what I meant was this year.
They're projected to win 101 this year or so. Mr. Brooks.
Mike, you'll be given time to apologize again next year. Thank you, Mr. Executive. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen that are left here in the room.
Let me begin my comments on a sad note because I got a couple of good points I'd like to end on. First of all, one of the things with executive you always hear me say, as a legislative body, county board, when one of our county board members are bereaved, we all are bereaved. And for this time, just like to acknowledge Mark Ferry and his daughter-in-law, Lauren Ferry. Mark lost his 93-year-old mom, Leona Ferry, last week. And just 4 days later, his brother-in-law, Tom Foreman, passed away. So Mark Ferry and his family, in 1 week, were bereaved with 2 funerals. And Mark, I know I talked with you extensively, but as you know, as a family, you are in our prayers. So the good news I want to conclude on is number 1, in my Will County Board District 8, we have something called the Eddie B. Edwards Community Black Award Banquet that I attended. And what I didn't know when I attended there, that my colleague Denise Winfrey won 3 awards that day. She didn't tell me that part, but she won the Community Activities Award. She also received a resolution from the General Assembly of the state of Illinois. Larry Walsh Jr. presented. She also received a resolution from the 43rd Senatorial District. Pat McGuire presented on that night. So I just want everybody to know, congratulations to Denise Winfrey and keep doing the good work. And then the Black History Month, thank you so much, County Executive and Will County Board, for acknowledging Black History Month, and also Ken Harris' birthday that month too. I know that's important. At least do it twice. For recognizing that resolution, I really do appreciate that, so thank you so much. And Mike Frizzalone, thank you for that information, because not only do we grieve with our legislative body, but we also celebrate. And Will County District 6, it happened in Wilmington, down in Reagan, and we're happy for you, and we should congratulate you for the Cheerleaders Women's School. And lastly, let me just remind everybody, we are still in our 40 days of Lent, and whatever your sacrificial sacrifice that you have made, stick to them. When they end in 40 days, right now we all getting along, but when they end in 40 days, we'll go back to our old selves. And everybody, behave. Stick to your sacrifice you made, and God bless you all. Thank you, Mr. Executive.
Thank you, Pastor Brooks. Next up, County Board Speaker, Mr. Mistis. Okay, there we go. Oh, you know, I'm going to be short. I almost, that was taking so long, Reverend Brooks. I thought you were going to pass the hat to the audience. No, thank you for all your comments. You know, I am thinking spring. Thinking baseball, since Mike brought it up. You know, I'd like to remind all those Cub fans, you did finish 3rd in your division. Last year. Well, they were last, but we weren't saying they were going to win. So, you know, we expected, you know. But at any rate, I'd like to thank everybody, you know, for all their work all month. You mentioned some of our youth. We've seen these cheerleaders today. But you know, I like to say occasionally, we have the most exceptional high schools in the state of Illinois. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter what school. When you look at how they perform in academic competitions, how they perform in athletic, prep sports, I think hands down, we're probably the #1 county in the country. So we are really fortunate here, and it's really a reflection on our families, the parents of these kids. We have really the greatest people, I believe, in the whole state of Illinois. And it is difficult when we have difficult decisions to make, like we've had today. We're hearing from residents. So I know how difficult it is for all of you sometimes to make those decisions. So I thank you for all your hard work. Last month, and yeah, we got a lot of work ahead of us in the upcoming year, so thanks everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Mistis. Before we leave, Mike McMarini wants your attention just for a few seconds.
I just wanted to touch base on your new PA system. I hope you like it. It's loud enough for us and works well. I just want to remind you that when you come in, there's on the touch screen, there's a button that says enter. Right on the screen. If you hit that button, that will bring your screen alive, and that will right now allow you to see who is waiting in line to speak.
Because remember, we don't have to raise our hands anymore. All you have to do is hit the speak button. Anybody who wants to try that, that will turn green on your button, and also on Larry's screen, that will give him a lineup of who and when someone pushed their button to speak. So then Larry can just go through the process of speaking in order. So when leadership gets together and decides when to move to the next phase of voting, that's where your voting buttons will be on that touch screen, where there will be a yes, no, or abstain. There will be no pass button, so there's no passing anymore. Yes, no, abstain. And I think Jim and leadership and Larry will get together and decide when we're going to go to that next phase. I know Nancy is excited about going to that. Today we have a flash drive in the new PA system that is recording everything. And I know Beth is using her old-fashioned little recorder, but we're going to see how this works. And that's taking all the minutes. And then when you do start voting from this equipment, that will calculate all the votes. Nancy won't have to count, and it will keep track of all of those votes for forever. We're able to download those. Nancy will be able to download those and email them to the press, because there's a lot of times press asks for who voted for what, and that way. So they'll be able to just email that right out. So hopefully maybe by April we can go to the next step and move forward. That's all I got. Thanks.
Thank you, Michael. Mr. Brooks?
I forgot a very important element today in my comment, and that is today is Bob Howell's birthday.
Happy birthday, Bob.
Should we sing? No.
We'll refrain from singing, thank you. I want to say thank you to our wonderful residents from Sunny Hill coming and witnessing our monthly county board meeting. Thank you, Karen, and everybody that was there that helped out, and Becky and Roger. They do a terrific job out there. We are extremely proud of our Sunny Hill Nursing Home facility and what shape it. Give us another year, and it's going to be tip top, right, Karen?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's good. With that, we will stand on recess until Thursday, March 17th at 9:30 a.m. Everyone have a great day.